Los Angeles fans waited 22 years for the Rams to return to Los Angeles. They finished their first season back 4-12 after a lopsided loss to the Arizona Cardinals with Bill Plaschke and Gary Klein. I'm Lindsay Theory for the Los Angeles Times. Bill, there was a little bit of hope for the Rams to start 2017 1-0. Instead, they're 0-1 and they go into the offseason with a lot of questions to be answered.
44-6. The end of the worst honeymoon in the history of marriage. This was an abomination. But the bigger picture we saw today was smothered under red jerseys, and that is Jared Goff. Everyone says, well, the Rams don't have a coach. Who's going to be their new coach? I don't know if the Rams know if they have a quarterback or not. He was sacked 7 times today, never allowed to show his arm off like always. A lost season for Jared Goff. The question leaving today for me is, will they do what it takes to make Jared Goff a better quarterback? Will they get him an offensive line? Will they get him a coach? Will they get him some receivers? Right now, the whole thing on Jared Goff, the whole franchise rests on him, and we're leaving today, leaving the season, not knowing where that's at.
Gary, the big star coming into the season was Todd Gurley. It was supposed to be Todd Gurley. He stood in front of his locker once again after today's game, unable to rush for 100 yards in a single game all season long, and he just kind of shrugged his shoulder and said, it never came.
No, I mean, he went into this game with this unreal expectation, I think, by the Rams that he might gain 155 yards and get to 1,000. Once again, I think it was about 40 yards and 14 carries, something like that. So, obviously, I don't know if you call it the sophomore jinx. I don't know if you call it the stage was too big or the offensive line was so bad. But Todd Gurley definitely needs a restart in year 3 because he looked nothing like the offensive rookie of the year that he was in 2015.
Jared Goff said there was no silver lining to the season except perhaps the fact that change is coming.
So in other words, silver lining is the coach got fired.
Yeah, I know, right? Read between the lines there a little bit.
Well, he didn't say that. I'm saying that.
Who do the Rams need to hire in the offseason?
There's so many names out there. I just hope they hire somebody. I hope they look at what other LA teams have done recently with the Luke Waltons and Dave Roberts and Clay Heltons of the world and take a fresh face. Take somebody new, somebody who's not a retread, get a new vision, a new look, and somebody who could open the offense up and let Jared Goff pass the football. That's all we need. Let him throw the ball. That's all we need.
Gary, going into the offseason, the offense, the defense, clearly two entirely different stories. The defense, those guys after every game, it's like it's on their tip of their tongue that they kind of want to blame the offense. They've been really good, though, about not throwing those guys under the bus. What kind of changes need to happen on the offense?
Well, I think the huge change is going to be at receiver. Kenny Britt, no idea if he's going to be back. Probably not, even though a 1,000-yard season. He's going to want to test the free agent market. Brian Quick, probably gone on a 1-year prove-it deal where he didn't. So you've got Tavon Austin coming back, and he really didn't produce. I mean, he's not really a number 1 guy. At least he hasn't proven to be. So you've got receivers, offensive line, just has been a mess, even though it's essentially the line that was there last year. But as Bill mentioned, I mean, Jared Goff was under fire, under siege the whole game today. It's amazing he didn't come out of this game with an injury. So
the good thing is, of course, as you know, Gary, in the NFL, they have all these needs. What you do in the NFL is you trade draft picks or use draft picks to get these needs. Oh, wait, they traded all the draft picks to get Jared Goff. What do they do now? It's got to be free agency, right, Gary?
Well, they do have draft picks, and Lindsay, you've talked about this too. They have a draft pick in every round, but they just don't have a premium number 1 guy, and they can't afford to trade picks because they're so thin. So they do have some room in the salary cap. They're going to have to venture into free agency, which they really haven't done historically, at least in the recent history, and they're going to have to find something to shore up that offensive line and receiver.
As much as it saddens me to be shooting our final video here in the Coliseum this season, 16 games in, Bill, I know you already described it as the honeymoon that went completely wrong, but one more time, the Rams return 16 games, 4-12. How do you sum up what happened this season?
It's one of the singular disappointing seasons in the history of LA sports, of all sports. A team came back after 22 years, City came to them in open arms, and the team just fell flat on their face. And the fans were left. The place was half empty. There was boos at the end here. Just, again, I can't think of a bigger on-field disappointment almost in history of LA sports.
Gary, you were with the Rams every single day. Never takes a day off, that Gary Klein. How would you sum it up?
Well, I think Bill was pretty accurate there. I mean, I think people came here, they were excited to have the Rams. The expectation that they were going to be any better than they had been before they got here, I think was optimistic. But to turn the way that did, to go 4-12, and to lose not only this game, the way they lost to Atlanta before Fisher was fired, I mean, it was just a mess. And remember, the Rams have to sell this team the next couple years. So with PSLs coming and all that kind of stuff, I don't know how you're going to get the fans really excited.
Less than 5 months ago, more than 90,000 people came to watch the Rams play the Cowboys in a preseason game. Today, there were only a few thousand left when the clock ran out. We are out of here with Bill Plaschke and Gary Klein. I'm Lindsay Theory. Be sure to keep it on the Los Angeles Times as the Rams now go into the offseason looking for a new head coach.